भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, chapter 12. Dhruva Mahārāja goes back to Godhead. Text 35. Tri-lokīṁ deva-yānena sa ativrajya munīn api parastād yad dhruva-gatir viṣṇoḥ padam athābhyagāt. Tri-lokīṁ deva-yānena tivrajya munīnapi parastād dhruva-gatir viṣṇoḥ padam athābhyagāt. Tri-lokīṁ deva-yānena tivrajya munīnapi parastād dhruva-gatir viṣṇoḥ padam athābhyagāt. Tri-lokīṁ deva-yānena tivrajya munīnapi parastād dhruva-gatir viṣṇoḥ padam athābhyagāt.
Tri-lokīṁ deva-yānena tivrajya munīnapi parastād dhruva-gatir viṣṇoḥ padam athābhyagāt. Tri-lokīṁ deva-yānena tivrajya munīnapi parastād dhruva-gatir viṣṇoḥ padam athābhyagāt. Tri-lokīṁ deva-yānena tivrajya munīnapi parastād dhruva-gatir viṣṇoḥ padam athābhyagāt.
Tri-lokīṁ deva-yānena tivrajya munīnapi parastād dhruva-gatir viṣṇoḥ padam athābhyagāt. Tri-lokīṁ deva-yānena tivrajya munīnapi parastād dhruva-gatir viṣṇoḥ padam athābhyagāt. Tri-lokīṁ deva-yānena tivrajya munīnapi parastād dhruva-gatir viṣṇoḥ padam athābhyagāt.
Mataji's.
Tri-lokīṁ deva-yānena tivrajya munīnapi parastād dhruva-gatir viṣṇoḥ padam athābhyagāt. Tri-lokīṁ deva-yānena
tri-lokīṁ, the three planetary systems, deva-yānena, by the transcendental airplane, sa, dhruva, ativrajya, having surpassed, munīn, great sages, api, even, parastād, beyond, yat, which, dhruva-gatiḥ, dhruva, who attained permanent life, viṣṇu, of Lord Viṣṇu, padam, abode, atha, then, abhyagāt, achieved. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Dhruva Mahārāja thus surpassed the 7 planetary systems of the great sages who are known as saptarṣi. Beyond that region, he achieved the transcendental situation of permanent life in the planet where Lord Viṣṇu lives. Please repeat after me. Dhruva Mahārāja thus surpassed the 7 planetary systems of the great sages who are known as saptarṣi. Beyond that region, he achieved the transcendental situation of permanent life in the planet where Lord Viṣṇu lives. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The airplane was piloted by the 2 chief associates of Lord Viṣṇu, namely Sunanda and Nanda. Only such spiritual astronauts can pilot their airplane beyond the 7 planets and arrive in the region of eternal blissful life. It is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita also, parastād tu bhava-anya, that beyond this planetary system begins the spiritual sky, where everything is permanent and blissful. The planets there are known as Viṣṇu Loka or Vaikuntha Loka. Only there can one get an eternal blissful life of knowledge. Below Vaikuntha Loka is the material universe, where Lord Brahma and others in Brahma Loka can live until the annihilation of this universe. But that life is not permanent. That is also confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, Abrahma Bhuvana Loka. Even if one goes to the topmost planet, one cannot achieve eternal life. Only by arriving in Vaikuntha Loka can one live an eternally blissful life. Tri-lokīṁ deva-yānena tivrajya munīnapi parastāt dhruva-gatir viṣṇu padam athābhyagāt. Dhruva Mahārāja thus surpassed the 7 planetary systems of the great sages who are known as saptarṣi. Beyond that region, he achieved the transcendental situation of permanent life in the planet where Lord Viṣṇu lives. So, this chapter is describing how Dhruva Mahārāja went back home. Dhruva Mahārāja was the son of a king, King Uttanapad. Priyavrata and Uttanapad are 2 sons of Swayambhuva Manu. And who is Swayambhuva Manu? Swayambhuva Manu is the son of Lord Brahma. So this way we can see that it is actually history. It's not some imaginary stories that are being narrated in these scriptures, especially in Srimad Bhagavatam. Actually, in the Vedic scriptures or in the Vedic culture, there is no room for falsity. There is no room for lie. There is no room for imagination. They are dealing with absolute truth. So absolute truth must be based on truth. Absolute truth cannot be based on falsity. They are giving us the information about the ultimate truth, the spiritual world, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the Sattang Parang Dhimahi. Sattang Param, Param Sattam. Param Sattam means, Param means ultimate or absolute, and Sattam means truth. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the absolute truth, and everything in relation to Him is absolute reality. So here is the history of a very, very special personality, Dhruva Mahārāja. It's a chronological description of the human history. Lord Brahma, who is Lord Brahma? Lord Brahma is the first created being in this universe. There are innumerable universes, and in each universe, the first person that appears is Lord Brahma. Actually, in the universe, after creation, is empty. The first being comes from the navel of the Lord. And he is situated, from the navel appears a lotus, and this first person, Lord Brahma, is situated in that. Now, one thing is that whoever comes to the material nature is in ignorance. That means he doesn't have any recollection of his past. He doesn't have any knowledge. He is in complete ignorance. Even Lord Brahma, although he came directly from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he was in ignorance. Therefore he began to wonder, who am I? He didn't have any knowledge about himself. Then he considered, if I find out where I came from, then probably I'll find out who I am. So thinking that, Brahma climbed down the lotus stem for a long, long time, but he still couldn't find the bottom. Then he came up again and sat on that lotus. And then he began to meditate. Now what to do? Going out, I couldn't find the bottom. Yeah, Brahma found himself sitting on a lotus, and there was a huge ocean. The lotus was on an ocean which is known as Garbha ocean. So he just found himself sitting on a lotus, and there was no one else, nothing else, just a vast tract of water, endless water. And there is lotus, and he is there. So Brahma then began to wonder. And at that time, seeing the sincerity of Brahma to find his identity, the Lord took mercy upon him. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in everyone's heart, is also present in Brahma's heart. So he directed Brahma by playing his flute. Brahma from within, he heard a sound. What is the sound that Brahma heard? That sound was tapa. No, actually that sound was, tapa was before, which actually directed Brahma. Brahma was bewildered. He was sitting on the lotus, And then the splashing of the waves of Garbha ocean, when the water splashes, what kind of sound does it produce? Tapaha. So that indicated Brahma to go within. And then when Brahma was in this way, considering now what to do, how can I find my actual identity? How can I find out what I am supposed to do here? Then the Lord, from within, playing his flute, indicated Brahma, and that sound came as Om. And this Om is called Omkar, and from the Om generated the Gayatri. The transcendental sound vibration on which Brahma meditated. And as a result of this meditation, when Brahma achieved his perfection, or as a result of this meditation, the transcendental knowledge was revealed in the heart of Brahma. Brahma saw the spiritual sky, which has been very wonderfully described by Lord Brahma himself in Brahma Samhita. Chintamani prakara sadmasu kalpa vriksha lakshāvriteshu surabhir abhipalayantam. He was transported to the spiritual sky, and there he sees Vrindavan. He was transported to Vrindavan. So we can see the way to Vrindavan is not a journey outside, is not an external journey, it's an internal journey. And as a result of this internal journey, it becomes transported to Vrindavan, the way Brahma was transported. And he is seeing the transcendental world made of touchstones, the inconceivable jewels. Kalpa vriksha, it's a forest, but all those trees are desire trees. And there are innumerable cows. Those cows are Surabhi cows. And Krishna is tending those cows. And Krishna is sporting with the young girls of Vrindavan. They are all Lakshmi Devis. Lakshmi Sahasra Sata Sambrahma Sevyamanam. So in this way, Brahma was transported to the spiritual sky. So this is how Brahma actually received the knowledge. And Brahma got the direction from the Supreme Personality of God. Tene Brahmarida Adi Kavaye Muihanti Jatsurayaha. So the transcendental knowledge was revealed in the heart of Brahma. And then Brahma became engaged in his mission, why he was sent here. And what was the mission, what was the purpose of Brahma's coming to this universe? Was to create the universe. The universe, the structure was made. The structure of the universe was there, but inside it was empty. So Brahma had the responsibility to fill it up. Like Brahma had the responsibility like that of an interior decorator. The building has been built, but once the building is built, it's empty. Who makes the building livable? The interior decorator. He brings everything. The chandeliers, the sofas, the beds, the flower vase, and all kinds of things. And he not only filled up the universe with the necessity, commodities, but he filled up the universe also with living entities. With living entities. So how did Brahma fill up this universe with the living entities? There was no one to assist Brahma. There was no one for Brahma to get married to, to produce children. So Brahma is so powerful that he could create people from the mind, from his mind. Brahma created 4 sons. Brahma could create his offsprings from his mind, Manasa Putras. So, first 4 sons of Brahma are the 4 Kumaras: Sanak, Sanatan, Sanandan, and Sanat Kumar. So when Brahma told them that, please assist me in my business of procreation, they said, sorry, we don't want to get involved in that business. We don't want to get entangled in the material nature. So, then Brahma at first became angry that these are my children, but they are not obedient to me, they are not listening to me. But then Brahma considered that after all they are my children, and I should not become angry with them. Because Brahma's anger can be extremely destructive, extremely dangerous. You can well imagine the person who can procreate from his mind, what will be his anger like? The person who can create from his mind, his anger can be extremely destructive. Therefore, Brahma restrained his anger because he knew his anger could destroy these children. But although he restrained his anger came out from between his eyebrows, from his forehead. And those anger that came out from his forehead took the shape of a personality. Who is that personality? Lord Shiva, Rudra. So then Brahma created 10 more sons from his mind. Those 10 more sons are 9 Prajapatis and Narad Muni. And then from the right hand side of Brahma's body, one personality appeared, and from his left hand side, another personality appeared. The one who appeared from his right hand side is Manu, and the one who came from his left hand side is Satarupa. So this Manu and Satarupa are the first couple. And from them, from Manu came mankind. The procreation through copulation started in this way. From the first couple, Manu and Satarupa. So Manu had, the Swayambhuva Manu had 2 sons and 3 daughters. Those 2 sons are Priyavrata and Uttanapad. And 3 daughters are Akuti, Devahuti and Prasuti. So Bhagavatam is describing how it started. And then, as Uttanapad we mentioned, Uttanapad had the king. He became king in due course of time, and he had 2 wives. Suniti and Suruchi. Suniti had a son, but the king became more attracted to his younger wife, the second wife, Suruchi. And as a result of that, Suniti was neglected. Now Suruchi was very envious of her, so she was making her life difficult, Suniti's life difficult, because she was the favorite of the king. So one day the son of Suruchi, Uttam, was sitting on the father's lap. Then Dhruva came and he also wanted to sit on his father's lap. So at that time, Suruchi pushed him aside and said, "No, you can't sit on your father's lap. In order to sit on your father's lap, you have to be born from my womb." So Dhruva, little child, 5-year-old boy, became very hurt. So crying, he went to his mother and narrated the story, narrated the incident, what actually happened. So Suniti was very saintly by nature. So she said, "Look, this is your destiny. Whatever happens in the material nature doesn't happen by chance. It is all due to your past. So, your past karma. Now, if you want your desire to be fulfilled, then you can pray to the Lord, Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead." So he asked, "Where can I find Hari?" So the mother said, "When somebody wants to find Hari, goes to the forest." So maybe Hari lives in the forest. So Dhruva, the 5-year-old boy, immediately went to the forest. Left home, went to the forest. And he started to search for Hari. And in the forest, who do you find? What do you find? Who do you find? Wild animals. So Dhruva was asking whoever he came across, "Are you Hari? Are you Hari?" But the Lord from the heart, Lord in the heart, actually takes care of the living entities. So although Dhruva was approaching these wild animals, tigers, lions, elephants, snakes, deers, peacocks, so he was asking, "Are you Hari? Are you Hari?" They didn't harm him, because the Lord in the heart also was present in their heart, and in this way the Lord was protecting Dhruva Mahārāja. So then Narad Muni took pity upon Dhruva Mahārāja, became compassionate towards Dhruva, seeing the earnest search of this little boy. So he came and instructed Dhruva. He gave him the mantra. And he asked Dhruva to meditate upon that mantra. Gayatri. One Gayatri. And Dhruva then started to meditate, and his meditation on the mantra was so intense that Dhruva stopped eating. Dhruva stopped drinking. He was so absorbed that all his external activities stopped. He stopped eating, he stopped drinking, and he even stopped breathing. So at that time, Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, appeared to Dhruva Mahārāja. And Dhruva, he was seeing the Lord in the heart, in his beautiful form, with 4 arms, beautiful bluish complexion, wearing yellow silk garment. In his 4 arms he was holding conch, disc, lotus and mess. And at that time Dhruva opened his eyes. He was seeing the Lord in the heart, and as he opened his eyes he found the Lord is standing in front of him. So he was completely bewildered what to do now. So he just fell flat on the ground, offering him obeisances. And the Lord then touched Dhruva with his conch shell. And as a result of that, Dhruva became so eloquent. This 5-year-old boy started to glorify the Lord in the most wonderful prayers. And then the Lord told him, Dhruva, I know what you wanted. So your desire will be fulfilled. You will have your kingdom even beyond your grandfather's. That is Brahma's great-grandfather. Brahma's, or rather your grandfather, Brahma's situation. But Dhruva at that time was telling that I don't want this kingdom. Actually, as a child, I simply wanted something which doesn't really have any value. I was searching for some broken pieces of glass and I found a diamond. So why should I be attracted to the glass anymore? Broken piece of glass anymore. But the Lord said, no, Dhruva, you go through that phase. You go through this. So then Dhruva actually, so the Lord told him that you go through your, what you desired, go through that. And then in due course of time, you'll come back to me. So then Dhruva actually became the king. He went back home. In the meantime, his father was so worried that this little boy left home and entered into the forest. And so Dhruva came back and everyone was relieved. And in course of time, Dhruva became the king. Not immediately, but in due course of time he became the king. He ruled over the earth planet over a long period of time and then he retired. In the Vedic culture we find a very wonderful custom that at some point in their life, especially the higher class of individuals, they retire from home. They retire from their family life. Actually, this is the wonderful aspect of Vedic culture. Their life begins with spiritual training, brahmachari life. Then they enter into household life, fulfill their responsibilities as householders. Then they retire. And that retired life is based on spiritual cultivation of spiritual life. And then finally, sannyas, renounced. So in this way you can see that out of these 4 phases, all 3 phases are based on spiritual objectives. Only one is allowing them to material entanglement. Even a king would do that. Even a king would retire from his kingdom and go to the forest and cultivate his spiritual life. Or go to a holy place, up in the mountains. They would go to the forest, means they would go to some holy place away from everything. And there they would cultivate spiritual life in their ashram. So in this way Dhruva Mahārāja went to the forest. Dhruva Mahārāja left home and went to Badarika ashram. And there he was spending his time in the association of the saintly personalities. Then one day, as it is being described here in this chapter, a chariot came, a celestial vehicle came. And this actually came from the spiritual sky to take Dhruva Mahārāja back there. Now when Dhruva Mahārāja was told that this chariot actually came, or the vehicle has come for him to go back, to take him back to Godhead, as this chapter describes, Dhruva Mahārāja goes back to Godhead. The chariot came to take him back to Godhead. Then Dhruva Mahārāja took bath, bade farewell to all the saintly people there with whom he spent so much time together. And as then he came, he circumambulated the chariot, and he offered obeisances. And as he was about to climb onto the chariot, he found death standing there. So Dhruva Mahārāja took the opportunity to put his foot on death's head to climb to the chariot. So this is how death actually comes to a self-realized soul. A person who has become a devotee of the Lord, for him, death comes. Death comes. What is death actually? Death is simply a changing of body. Death of the body. Now, body is discarded. It is the body that dies. But the spirit soul continues. Normally, people do not know that. Therefore, for them, death is the end, because their consciousness is in the body. When the body ceases to be, when the body is finished, they think we are finished. But a person who is situated in his spiritual knowledge, spiritual identity, for him, it is only a changing of body. So Dhruva Mahārāja changed his body, so death came to him. He had to change his body. He had to leave his material body behind. But Dhruva Mahārāja took the opportunity to put his foot on death's head, as if he was blessing death to climb onto the chariot. And it has been described, at that time Dhruva Mahārāja's body became effulgent. like when he left his gross material body, and he assumed his spiritual body, which was effulgent. And then, at that time, when he climbed onto the chariot, and the chariot was, Prabhupada didn't use the expression chariot, Prabhupada used the expression transcendental airplane. So when he boarded the transcendental airplane, then Dhruva Mahārāja recalled that his mother, who guided him in this path, how can he leave her behind? So he wanted to take his mother also, because it's his mother who guided him into the spiritual life when he was just a little boy. She is the one who told him to search for Hari. And that's why he made this endeavor to look for him and eventually found him. And as a result of that, his life had become perfect. So that's how Dhruva Mahārāja wanted now to take his mother also along with him. But then these two associates of the Lord who came to escort Dhruva Mahārāja in that transcendental airplane, they assured him that, look, don't worry about your mother. Your mother is going ahead of you. There is another plane going ahead to the spiritual sky, and your mother is there. So this is how, and the yesterday's verse we discussed, that how when the children become spiritually involved and achieve spiritual perfection, or they become spiritually situated, then the parents also derive transcendental benefit. Because the Lord is very merciful, and He remains grateful to the parents for giving birth to such a child. And what was the instruction to the mothers? Yesterday, Prabhupada's purport, all the mothers must try to train their children in such a way from their childhood that they become properly situated in their spiritual purpose. Like Dhruva Mahārāja's mother, at the age of 5, Dhruva Mahārāja was instructed by his mother to search after the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And this is how the mothers fulfill their responsibilities. And what is the reward? When the child achieves spiritual perfection, the mother also derives that perfection. Mother also derives that benefit. So here, in this way we can see that in this verse, description is the Vaikuntha Loka. Where is it? It is beyond the material nature. Material nature has the 7 higher planetary systems. Material nature has 3 planetary systems. Like higher planetary systems, lower planetary systems, and middle planetary system. We are in the middle planetary system. Below us, there are 7 lower planetary systems, Patala Loka. And above us, there are 6 higher planetary systems. And beyond that is the abode of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And this abode of the Lord is spiritual. Jad gatvana nivartante tad dhamo paramam. When one goes back to that region, he doesn't have to come back again. Jad gatva na nivartante. Nivartante means to return, and na nivartante means not return. One does not have to return to this material nature when one achieves his spiritual perfection. Because the spirit soul came from the spiritual sky. We all are spiritual beings. Does anybody have any doubt about that? That we are spiritual? Like there are two things, material or spiritual. Now the body is made of matter. Body is made of matter. But is matter conscious? Where does the consciousness come into this body? Because of the presence of the soul. Now where does the soul come from? The soul comes from the spiritual world. So, when you become purified from the bondage of matter, from the contamination of matter, then you go back to the spiritual world. And the way to get purified is the process of Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is what purifies everybody. No other process can purify to that extent. Austerities and penances and all that may purify to some extent, but not to the fullest extent. May make us make some spiritual advancement, enable us to make some spiritual advancement, but cannot free us from the material bondage and go back to the spiritual sky. The only way to reach the spiritual sky is by devotional service, which begins with the surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In this way, there is we can consider one incident in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to have his Sankirtan every night in the house of Srivas Thakur. At that time, when Mahaprabhu used to have Sankirtan, the only people who could enter there are the devotees. Non-devotees were not allowed there. The door was locked in his house. And in the courtyard, they used to have the kirtan, but nobody else could enter. So there was one brahmachari who used to only drink milk. He did not eat anything. No grain, no vegetables, no nothing. No fruits, no nuts, only milk. He was the milk drinking brahmachari. So one day he requested Srivas Thakur, please, will you allow me to watch this Sankirtan? Then Srivas Thakur said, yes, you are sinless. You are so pure, you are a brahmachari all your life, and you only drink milk, you don't eat anything, you are so austere. So, if you come, it will be all right. So Srivas Thakur made arrangement that he could come into the house and watch the Sankirtan of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Dancing and chanting. It was a wonderful sight. So hiding there, he was watching. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that today I am not feeling the ecstasy of chanting. What happened? Did some non-devotee enter here? Then Srivas Thakur finally admitted that yes, but he is not a non-devotee, he is a very pious person. He drinks only milk. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became very upset. He said, just by drinking milk one doesn't get Krishna Prem. Spiritual advancement cannot be achieved by just drinking milk and performing austerity. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heavily chastised that boy, that brahmachari. And he told him to leave the place, to get out. This person, he admitted his fault and he left. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told him that the only way one can achieve devotion is by surrendering to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because he is performing austerities, but because he is not surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, therefore he is not qualified. So when this brahmachari left, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu called him. Come back. Because he could see that his heart was pure. He accepted his chastisement, admitted his fault, and in this way he was prepared to rectify himself. So what did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu do? When he came back, he placed his foot on his head. And in this way he immediately got Krishna Prem. He started to dance in ecstasy, singing the glory of the Lord, expressing his surrender to him. And in this way he became qualified. So this way we can see the only way to receive the mercy of the Lord, only way to develop devotion to the Lord is by surrender. Surrender is the only way. That's why in Bhagavad Gita Krishna is saying, Sarva dharman parityajya. Surrender unto me. Surrender unto me. So this surrender leads to devotion to the Supreme Lord. Thank you all very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Gaur Premanande. Does anybody have any question? He has a question.
Guru Maharaj, like this is a Dhruva Mahārāja went to abode of Lord with the body. So how one can go with this material body? Because
No, his material body was left behind.
Okay.
It is said that he developed his spiritual body at that time. It's described that his body became effulgent. That is his spiritual body.
The similar thing I've heard about Sant Tukaram also, like he also went to abode with, like a celestial plane came for him also, and he went with his body. So in that
We have to understand that, when they say the same body, that means his body has become spiritualized.
Okay.
Like the material body is left behind. Like I don't know about Tukaram, but at least I have seen Prabhupada's body. He left his body. Who will doubt Prabhupada as a pure devotee? Who will doubt Prabhupada's purity? But he left his outer shell, which is in Samadhi, which is also spiritual. That's why it's put in Samadhi. Yes?
Guru Maharaj, as you know that in the beginning of creation there was only sound, and from sound everything is come. So like in this Kali Yuga, the most active process is chanting. So although we have been chanting for many years, so this sound vibration also we are hearing, but why we can't perceive any spiritual reality?
Well, in order to perceive spiritual reality, you have to have proper vision. That vision will come out of purity. So, the purity is synonymous to love for Krishna. Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena. Like when our eyes become purified due to being anointed by love for Krishna, then with that vision we'll be able to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the spiritual sky. These eyes are good for what? These eyes are good for what? Does this eye see the spirit soul? What to speak of spirit soul? Does this eye even see the mind? So this eye can see only gross matter, and not only all gross matter. The gross matter to the extent of earth, water and fire. Earth we can see with our eyes. Water we can see with our eyes. Fire we can see with our eyes. But air, can you see air? So see the limitation of these eyes. So how can you dare to see the spiritual reality with your eyes? this material eye. So we have to develop our spiritual eyes. When the spirit soul awakens, the spiritual eyes will also open.
More question. So the soul is not product of this material world, and also the Hare Krishna Mahamant has come from anti-material or spiritual world. So when this soul and Hare Krishna Mahamant come in contact with each other, why can't they revive their original quality?
The soul is spiritual, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is spiritual, but you have to chant it purely. If you chant offenses, then that is not Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That is your offenses you are chanting. Chanting can be in 3 stages. Offensive chanting, clearing chanting, pure chanting. So when you are chanting the offenses, then it's not the holy name. Koti janma kore jodi naam sankirtan, tobu to na pai Krishna prem, pade premodhan. So that is offensive chanting. For millions of lifetimes you can keep on chanting offensively. That will not give Krishna prem. But it's the pure chanting that will give Krishna prem. That is the pure chanting is the pure spiritual Mahamantra.
The things and everyone in the Vedic culture is that they retire and to go to a holy place to take help of the Lord. Like we render devotional service, various services, but sometimes we may feel that maybe just for a few days we need a retreat, something like a retreat where we can simply hear and chant, at least for a few days or something. So what is the importance and necessity that can you explain?
It's a kind of a, rejuvenating the purpose. Like sometimes we forget the purpose, why we are here, what we are doing. Or many people, those who are not living in the temple, many devotees, those who are living at home, or even the devotees who are living in the temple, their consciousness sometimes become what should I say, complacent. They forget the purpose. So these kind of retreats are important to remind them about the purpose by being absorbed properly in chanting the holy name. Okay.
When we try to surrender and subsequently try to follow the instructions, then success or failure, does it really matter, or just the sincere spirit of surrendering is good enough?
Good question. Sincere surrender will lead to achieving the goal. You see, let's put it this way. What is surrender? Surrender means to completely depend upon, isn't it? Offering yourself completely to that person. So when you are completely depending upon him, then you are depending upon whatever he wants to do with you. And because he is our supreme well-wisher, he will guide us. Like for example, the baby. Does the baby know what to get, what to ask for and what not to ask for? But the mother knows. And that's how the mother takes care of all the needs of the baby. Baby doesn't have to ask. Similarly, to become surrendered is something like becoming like a baby on the lap of the mother or on the lap of the father. Now, does the father know? Does the mother know what the child needs? So that is how it automatically happens by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because he knows what we need. Because he wants that we go back to him. So what is happening? He wants us to go back, but we are resisting. We say, no, we don't want to go now. So that is our situation. He says, come to me, but we are saying, no, we don't want to go. That reminds me, when I was in Sydney, I gave one example. Robbie liked that example very much. She was telling me about it afterwards. I was giving the example of our situation as like a bunch of children, like a child. We are like a bunch of children. We are playing in the field. The child wants to play, and the father says, okay, go play. But the father is sitting by the park on a bench and seeing the child playing. Child has completely forgotten the father. He is so absorbed in the game that he is playing with his friends that he completely forgot his father, and he is completely absorbed in his game. Real nature, completely absorbed in this game, right? And we forgot the father. We may forget the father, but the father is just sitting there by the bench, by the park, on a bench. And when you call out to him, really, sincerely, well, now I don't want to play anymore. The game is over. I don't want to play this game anymore. I want to go home. Where are you? Where are you? Then the father comes and picks us up. So it all depends upon our intention, sincerity of our intention.